Hey, what's up everyone, Saintsfan back again with another GTA 5 video, and today we're taking a look at the top 10 best looking sports classic cars in GTA Online. This is a continuation of the sort of top 10 or top 5 series that I'm doing, going over all the best looking cars in the game. We've already done the best looking sports cars and the best looking supercars, and the sports classics was a highly requested category, so that's what we're doing today. Now, unfortunately, since there aren't as many sport classic cars as there are super and regular sport cars, this is only going to be a top 5 instead of a top 10. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts and your top 5 list in the comment section. I will, however, talk about 2 cars, but they just didn't make my top 5 list, so I guess if you want to call this a top 7, there you go. But the first one is the one I'm driving here, the Mamba. Now, the reason I wanted to throw this in here and mention it was because of the car it's originally based off of, and this is actually the reason it didn't make the top 5. So it's based off of the AC Cobra Mach 3, I believe, in real life, and I'll show a picture of that. Look at that. That looks really cool, right? It's sort of like an old school racing car. Well, unfortunately, the Mamba, I mean, it has some similarities, but it's not, you know, exactly like that car. And I think that's kind of its downfall. It looks great. It's probably my favorite convertible sports classic car, and I mean, I don't have a specific paint job on it here, just like the blue, which, you know, looks really good, nice and clean, but it doesn't have, at least to me, that look or that feel like the car it's based off of. So that's why it didn't make the list, unfortunately, but I do like it as a convertible. And the other one I wanted to talk about before we get into the top 5 list is the Roosevelt. Not the Roosevelt Valor. The Roosevelt Valor to my right there, it looks nice, and it's basically the same car, just with some more modifications, but the regular Roosevelt is just, in my opinion, I like it a lot more. I like the simplicity of it. It looks more like a car from that time period than the Valor, because the Valor, like I said, has a bunch of sort of modern upgrades. But yeah, I wanted to throw this in this conversation. I know some people probably don't like the looks of it, but for the sports classic category, I think it doesn't look too bad. Okay, so now moving into number 5, we have the Trafade Z-Type. I don't know, I feel like this car is sort of half and half in terms of how many people like it and how many people dislike it. I absolutely love this car. It's based off of the 1937 Bugatti Type 57 Atlantic. And the reason it's in my top 5 is because it is the oldest car in the game. I mean, like I just said, it's based off of a 1930s car, and I absolutely love that. I love the uniqueness. I love the uniqueness about it. And I mean, yeah, I think the speed's pretty good. It's on par. It's actually one of the fastest top speed vehicles in the game. Now, what I did with it here, we actually put a creme de mint paint job on it to sort of give it a look, or to sort of base it off of another Bugatti that they came out with in the 30s, the Aerolith, and I'll go ahead and put a picture of that on the screen. Obviously, the car looks a little bit different, but I feel like the paint job is somewhat similar, and that's kind of what I was going with. And you'll see for most of these sports classics, in terms of paint jobs, I think sort of mute colors look better on it, not flashy colors, like not colors that pop. Darker colors or faded out or worn down colors definitely look best on these, but that is the Z-Type, and it is my number 5 choice. Now, number 4, and I'm not entirely sure why this is considered a sports classic, but it is in the category the Tornado, or the Tornado Custom. I guess there's like 18 different versions of the Tornado, but the Tornado Custom I really like. There's many ways you can go about customizing. I think one of my favorite ones, and it's not the one I'm showing here, one of my favorite ways to customize it is to just have it super simple, basically bare bones, but having a worn yellow, sort of like old school paint job on it. I think that looks incredible. Kind of looks like a taxi, I guess, from like the 50s, because I think that's when this car came out. But it is my favorite lowrider. It's my favorite one to customize. It's one of the most fun to drive just because of, I guess, how slow it is, which I know that sounds like a contradiction, but it's really nice. The customization is great, and obviously that's one of the reasons why I think it can look so good, is because there's just so many options that Rockstar provided, and that's why it's in my top 5 for best looking sports classic vehicles. Now, number 3, I actually couldn't pick between these 2 cars because they look, you know, kind of similar. They're both out of the sports classic cars, I would say the more like sports or super-y type. But the first one we have is the Stinger GT here. This one is a Ferrari. It's based off of the Ferrari 250 GTO. and it has such a sleek design. I have a nice dark red paint job with some just black rims. Pretty simple paint job, but I think it goes really well with this car. I'm not a huge fan of the regular Stinger, but the GT version looks incredible. And like I mentioned, it's one of the few sort of like super-esque cars that are classic. I know they came out with a few actual supercars that are classic, but this one, it looks better, and I think it feels a lot better. And then the other one we have is the Monroe. Like I said, it's really similar to the Stinger back there. This one is based off of the Lamborghini, I'm probably going to botch this name, Muria, or Mura. I probably said that completely wrong. But the reason I think I like these two cars, and the reason I like most of these cars, and I guess the reason they're on my list, is because when Rockstar made them, they didn't change them up too much. They stay true to their original forms, and I love that because the original forms are so nice looking. But here we just got a nice yellow paint job with some chrome lowrider rims on, nothing exactly special. Another thing with most of these sports classic cars, at least the last two that I just did, there's not really, I don't think there's any customization apart from the respray on them. So you're basically buying these cars, or if you're going to get them in online, you're going to be getting them based off of their looks. And I think these two, the Monroe and the Stinger GT, are the best looking, like I said, super-esque sport classic cars in the game. Now coming in at number 2, I have the Coquette Classic, and honestly, it was a tough call between this one and number 1, but ultimately, this one is at number 2, and it is an incredible car. It's based off of the Corvette C2, which I believe came out in the mid-60s, and the reason I like this sports classic car in particular, and I know some people might disagree with this, but I like this one because it looks modern, or you can at least make it look modern. Like, you have the option to make it modern or to make it classic, and I went with the modern look. I went with the sort of sleeked out, you know, we got the nice rims. I took off a bunch of like the bumpers and a bunch of the extra stuff on it. This one actually probably has the most customization out of this list. It's either this one or number 1 that has the most customization. As for paint job, another simple and dark paint job. I believe this is a dark green with a surf blue pearlescent. So not really much going on there. We have the exhausts on the side, but I love the way this car looks. Honestly, the back might be my favorite part, and some people might like this convertible, but I actually don't. I like it with the roof on because of the really awesome sort of curve. I love the side profile of this car, as you can see. It just looks so freaking cool, so nice looking, and that's why it is at number 2. And then number 1, I have the Sterling GT. This is my favorite sports classic car by far. Of course, it's going to start raining, but you can still see. I just have a simple, this is just one of the metals. I think it's just a brushed steel metal. I think this color, this like gray or silver, sort of fits this car the best. One reason that this car is incredible, if you get out, it's got gull wing doors. It's like one of 2 cars in this game that has gull wing doors, and I think that's a huge reason why it looks so good. Like when you pop both of them up, and they actually stay up, it looks so nice. Like that is classy right there. You know, some pros of it besides just the looks. It's got a really great sounding engine. It's got some really good customization. It's pretty fast as well. I don't know if I've actually mentioned this, but this car is based off of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL and the 300 SLR. And I'll go ahead and put a comparison picture up on the screen, not to sound like a broken record, but I think Rockstar, they make the best cars when they don't change too many things. I mean, this car looks almost identical to the one from real life. And I mean, there's a reason the ones in real life are so well received and so popular, because they look great. And when Rockstar just basically tweaks a few things so they can actually add them into the game, that's where they're best at. I mean, yeah, they might have made, or they have made some original style cars, but for the most part, when they just take the ones from real life and put them in the game, that's, in my opinion at least, that is where we receive the best looking cars. But that is the list. The Sterling GT coming in at number 1. It was a tough one though between this one and the Coquette Classic. I like both, but ultimately this one is my number 1 choice. So that is my top 5 list, or I guess top 7 list, depending on how you look at it. Let me know yours in the comment section below, and I guess we can go ahead and continue this all the way through the rest of the car classes. So if you guys want to see another car class or a specific one, then let me know in the comment section for next week. Thank you all for watching though. Please drop a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe for more awesome GTA content. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.